Namanda, 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 namanda. Okay, good morning, everyone. Excuse me. Let's begin our December Shotsuki monthly memorial and adult Dharma service. One aspect of these Shotsuki services is that many people who are here in remembrance of a loved one who've passed away, and whether last year or however many years ago, 7, 25, 50, 100, right? But this service is also open to anyone, so thank you for attending. I'd like to begin by reading the December Shotsuki names. Wakako Adachi, Larry Aikawa, Yoneko Aochi, Yasuhiko Aoki, Koto Aoyagi, Yasutaro Chiyoda, Toshiko Crook, Jean Dent, Fumie Doi, Goro Endo, Takako Endo, Fusakichi Fuji, Keri Fuji, George Fujino, Noboru Fukuchi, Michiko Fukutomi, Emiko Furuta, Toshiko Furuta, Jay Gluck, Sumi Hiramoto Gluck, Mutsu Gonda, Utaro Harada, Kinuko Diana Hayashi, Osue Hirabayashi, Masahiro Hirayama, Fred Hiromoto, Fuji Ikeda, Tom Ikemiya, Fred Kaneshige, Dick Kanzaki, Keishu Kanzaki, Otokichi Kashima, Tamesaku Kataoka, Kiyono Kawabata, Yuji Kawabata, Hisa Kawamoto, Pearl Kawamoto, Ryu Kawaoka, Yufu Kisanuki, Kei Saburo Koda, Kazuo Koizumi, Takehei Kono, Heitaro Kosobayashi, Margaret Kubota, Myosuke Kuramura, Robin Sasaki Ledeker, Torahei Masuoka, Ben Matsui, Matsu Matsui, Chosei Matsui, Fusako Matsutani, Kinu Matsutani, Rokusaburo Miyamoto, Masato Mori, Yoshihisa Mori, Naoto Roy Muramoto, Yotaro Najima, Nobori Nakagawa, Toru Tam Nakagawa, Hiroshi Nakai, Masato Nakao, Jin Nakao, Shigeko Nakao, Takashi Nakao, Seiichi Nakatani, Eiichi Nakazono, Ei Saburo Natsuhara, Gloria Natsuhara, Nobuko Natsuhara, Masako Neishi, Sadaichi Neishi, George Nobori, Don Nomiyama, Jerry Nomura, Sekinosuke Okai, Mary Fumie Okamura, Shinji Okamura, Hide Okano, Kimio Okawachi, Takashi Okawachi, Keiji Onizuka, Jane Otsuka, Tomio Otsuka, Wendy Mitsu Pendro, Yukiko Sakakura, Jun Sasaki, Yukichi Sasaki, Mitsuzo Satake, Helen Sato, Hironobu Sato, Julie Seiji Shibata, Kunio Shibata, Tomino Shigemoto, Amy Shimada, Yoshizo Shimamoto, Masao Shinomoto, Shigeyoshi Suwa, Hatsue Tsunagawa, Itsu Takahashi, Michie Takashima, Yoshitsugu Takeda, Seikatsu Takesaka, Beatrice Tamichi, Teiko Tomori, Ichiro Tanaka, Masaichi Tanaka, Masayo Tani, Kusu Tanita, Kazuyuki Terada, Yukie Terada, Tadashi Teraura, Keiji Toyofuku, Mary Tsuboi, Shozo Tsuboi, Ayako Agnes Tsuji, Yumiko Tsujimoto, Jane Uemura, Shigekazu Umemoto, Yoshi Ushijima, Kin Usui, Teruko Ueno, George Watanabe, Yotaro Watanabe, Howard Worrell, Yoshio Yabe, Naozo Yago, George Yamaguchi, Reverend Seigen Yamaoka, Masato Yamashita, Takefumi Yasuda, Masai Yokomizo, Nobue Noi Yokomizo, Yonekichi Yokomizo, Stephen Young. Okay, next we will have Sutra Chanting. Today we will chant Sanbutsuge, which is on page 22 in the small book, and in the large book, page 79. Namanda, 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 namanda. Kogen gi gi ijin mugok nyo zen myo muyo tosha nichi ga tsumani shuko enyo kai shitsu onpei yunyaku jumok nyorai yogen chose munin shogaku daion koru jippo kaimon shojin sanmai chie itoku muryo shushoke jintai zennen shobutsu hokai gujin jin no kugo gaitai mumyo yokunu seson yomu nino shishi jin toku muryo kukun kodai chi e jin myo komyo iso shindo daisen ganga sabutsu zai shoho kado shoji mifugedatsu fuse joi kainin shojin nyoze sanmai chi e ijo gosei tokubutsu fugyo shigan isai kuku isadai am keshi ubutsu hyakusen okuman muryo daisho shunyo goja kuyo isai shito shobutsu funyo gudo kensho fukyak hinyo goja shobutsu sekai bufu kake mushu setsudo komyo shisho henshi shokok nyoze shojin ijin nanyo ryoga sabutsu kokudo daiichi goshu kimyo dojo chozetsu kokunyo nai om nimu toso gato aimin 道達一切実法来生心熱症状人が国下落安穏古物神妙是が心象発願の非力少々欲実法世尊知恵無下上領子孫知が信行軽量心死食毒中画行精進忍辱不敬ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブがんにしくどく平等性一切道本母大心往生安楽国ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナモ阿弥陀仏ナマンダナマンダナマンダナマンダ。Okay, next, let's recite Sankiemon, the three refuges in Japanese. It's in the big purple book, page 6 and 7. And remember, at the end, I'm going to do a little in English, and so repeat after me in English at the end, too. Sankiemon. Oh, am I sharing yet? Hold on. There. Sankiemon. Ninjin uke gata shi ima suri ni yuku, buppo kiki gata shi ima suri ni kiku, konomi konjo ni mukatte dose zumba, saru ni izure no shou ni mukatte ka konomi o dosen, daishu moro tomo ni shishin ni sambo ni kieshi tatematsuru beshi. 自ら仏に帰し奉るまさに願わくは主情とともに大道を体現して無常意を起こさん自ら法に帰し奉るまさに願わくは主情とともに深く教蔵に入りて知恵海のごとくならん自らそうに帰し奉るまさに願わくは主情とともに大衆を通りして一切無限ならん 無常人人未妙の法は百千万語にも愛をごとかたし、我今検問し受持すること得たり、願わくは如来の真実義を下し立てまつらん。I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda. Okay, thank you once again for joining us for our December Shotsuki monthly memorial and adult Dharma service. In the Dharma School service today, the Bodhi Day service, I shared the book The Gift of Nothing by Patrick McDonald, and it stars Mooch and Earl. It's from a comic strip called Mutts. Anybody read Mutts or used to read Mutts? A few people, right? We don't really read the newspaper that much anymore. I know some people do, but it is in one of the print newspapers still. And I started reading it because my parents read the newspaper all the time, right? And so the newspaper was spread out on the table, and sometimes there was a cat on top of the newspaper. But I just remember reading Mutts, and then I would also buy the books, the collection, right? And so kind of like Peanuts or other collections, right? You could actually buy a book, and it had like a year's worth. I don't know how much was in there, but like a whole bunch of the comic, and you could just sit and read the comic, right? And so my dad would read it too. And so thinking back on Mutts, I just it makes me think of my dad. That's part of what these Shotsuki services are about, is this memorial for everyone who has passed away in the month of December. So we don't have to, it's not like a private service. You can have a private service for like the first year or third year or seventh year, right? We have these kind of special years that you can do a service for, but also we can come every year, right? Any year, and do Shotsuki. I used to think that I've told this story before, I thought it was Shotsuki, right? I started my kind of ministry as a student here at Oakland under the late Reverend Dr. Seigen Yamaoka, who is read on the list. And we would do Shotsuki, and we'd usually chant Amida Kyo. And I'd have these fond memories of the Shotsuki service under Reverend Yamaoka. But I thought it meant Shotsuki, meaning like hajimete, sho, and then tsuki, meaning month. So I thought it was because it was usually on the first Sunday of the month. So that's kind of the meaning I've made up in my head for what Shotsuki means is, it's the first Sunday of the month. That's totally not what it means. Tsuki means month, but it's sho, not sho, right? Sho, and it means something like auspicious. Or not lucky, but we could maybe think of it that way. But auspicious, I think we often think of it as a kind of Buddhist term. Right? And so I think that partly points to the meaning of Shotsuki. Because in the West, you'd be like, wait a second, this is a memorial. We're talking about someone who died. Why are you calling this auspicious? But instead, I think it's pointing to that memorial. It's a different understanding of death. Right? And that it's not just death, although we observe it with the memorial at the time of their death, but it's also their life. Right? It's thinking back on their whole life. And so in that sense, it's December. And so it's an auspicious month because I have this special opportunity in front of Amida Buddha, with my family maybe, with friends, with my Sangha, to be able to think about them, right? To bring them to mind. And so I didn't put my parents' names on the Shotsuki list, right? But this December is my father, this year, his 25th memorial, 25th year memorial service, Nijugo Kaiki, right? And he actually died 24 years ago yesterday, December 6th. And so, I realized it all just kind of occurred to me last night, but, I wanted to read The Gift of Nothing, this Mutts book, for the kids for Bodhi Day, and then also realized, that got me thinking about my dad and realized, oh yeah, it's my dad's 25th year this year. Right? And yesterday was a day, so I took that as this kind of auspicious occasion, right, to be thinking about my dad on the 25th anniversary of his passing, but he died 24 years ago. So that's another aspect of Shotsuki, that, and these memorial services, that in Buddhism, in Japanese Buddhism, in our sect of Buddhism, the counting kind of changes. So the first year is called Ishuki, and that first year service happens a year after someone passes away. Or we could use different terms. A year after they died, a year after they were born in the Pure Land, right? There's these kind of different ways of thinking about death, right? But the first year happens a year after they pass. 2 years later, we do the third year. And then 6 years later, we do the seventh year. 13th year, 17th year. For my dad, 25th year. But he passed 24 years ago. And I've heard Reverend Umezu, who's going to be our guest speaker for our Hongo service in January, I heard someone asked him, why do we do those special years and why do we count like this? And he says, nobody knows. It's a big mystery, right? But we can think of different ways. Part of it might be the Asian way of counting, the ancient Asian way. When you're born, you're one. And then when you hit Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year, you're two. It doesn't matter. You could be born in January, right, and be what we consider a zero, like a 1 month year old, and you're 2 years old, according to the Chinese kind of ancient Chinese counting system. So that might be part of it. There's also the different kanji, right? So first year is called Ishuki, and then after that it switches to kaiki, san kaiki, nana kaiki. For me, Nijugo Kaiki, right? And the Kai is kind of like maybe cycles, right? What got me thinking, what even does a year mean, right? We throw it around like we know, but I think actually we kind of take counting and years for granted maybe, right? Sometimes I think, we might think, oh, yeah, that was 3 or 4 years ago. And if we think about it, we're like, no, that was like 7 or 8 years ago, right? Or that happened, it must have been 10 years ago. No, it was 25 years ago that happened, right? Like we really kind of lose track of time. Our understanding of time it depends on so many different factors. And we're not machines, right? We're not like a mechanical clock that's keeping track of time in a very organized kind of way. Actually, we experience time in a very subjective way. If we're busy and stressed out, maybe it goes really fast. If we're waiting for something we really want to do, it goes really slow, right? That there's these different ways that we kind of conceive of time. I mentioned in the earlier service that I just got back from Japan. We went to Japan for holiday, for vacation for a couple of weeks. And one of the things I was fortunate to get to do was hang out with some of my high school friends. Because I went to high school in Japan, in Tokyo, to the American School in Japan, or ASIJ. And so I'm still in touch with a bunch of people. And so we were able to put together a kind of mini reunion with 5 of us. A couple of them I saw when we did our 20th year reunion, 25th maybe, like 15 years ago. And it's kind of hard to remember when. Maybe it was more like 12 years ago or so. But one of them I haven't seen since graduation, beginning of summer 1988. Right, so seeing someone all these years later, he looks so different. I've seen his picture on Facebook, right? But seeing him in person, getting to ask him questions. He went to Berklee School of Music, Berklee College of Music in Boston. I didn't know. I lived in Boston when he was there. I had no idea. I never saw him, never bumped into him. I wish I had known, right, to like get together. But this is pre-internet days, right, the 80s and 90s. 90s turns into internet days, but I wasn't on the internet until much later. So getting to see this person all these years later, right, some almost 40 years later. That's the point I'm trying to get to. We were talking, wow, our 40th reunion is coming up in 2028. Right, that I graduated high school in 1988. And so, we're kind of talking about it. Should we do it in San Diego? Should we do it in, I was like, let's do it in Tokyo. Come on, let's have it in Japan, because it's so expensive. If the yen rate's the same as it is now, it's great for us. It stinks if you're Japanese in Japan, right? It's really expensive to come to the States. My friends have kids, who are like in high school, junior high, high school, and they're just, you can't go to college in the States, I'm sorry. It's too expensive. It's just ridiculously expensive. It's expensive enough if you're American, right? If you're Japanese and you're converting, no way, it's just impossible, right? And so they're having to deal with that reality of having to send their kids to college in Japan. Fortunately, there are a bunch of schools, I guess, that are having classes more and more in English, not just what's that one? ICU, or there's a couple of colleges that have strong English programs, but even like Waseda, I heard, and these high-level Japanese universities are starting to have classes in English so that they can do that. So I was like, 40th year reunion, and a couple of them were like, oh, don't say that. Stop saying that, right? Because it makes you realize, wow, 40 years, right? How old are we? We're all like 55, 56. Sorry about that, kids. At one point, one of them said, everyone in this restaurant looks so young. And I was just like, what are you talking about? You guys look young too. Actually, I think my classmates don't look what I think 55 looks like, kind of. They look like they're in their 30s, right, or 40s. Maybe I do too, I don't know. I'm trying to tell myself that anyway. But again, time, years, what is a year, right? What is time? And maybe that's one aspect for this kind of memorial, right? That we can gather, we can think about our loved ones that have passed away, and if it's one of the special years to think, wow, my dad passed 24 years ago, okay, I got to count, right? And then realize, wow, it's a 25th year memorial. Right? And just to that kind of process maybe of thinking about it, reflecting on it. I remember standing here, however many years ago, 10, I've been here over 15 years. I started 2009, so I think I'm like 17 or 18 years here now. And I'm not even going to bother counting, but I just remember kind of looking over there and realizing, wow, I can think about my dad. Because I really couldn't bring him to mind after he passed for several years. I will say years, right? 6, 7, 8 years. I couldn't think about him because it hurt too much, right? That I would begin to think about him and I would feel that loss and pain come up and be like, nope, not going there. And I could like almost see myself pushing it down, push it away, out of mind, right? And realizing 7, 8 years later, while doing a Shotsuki service, standing here in this room, I can think about him again, right? That I could pull out pictures and look at these pictures of him and not have to put the picture away, right? That I could actually look and be like, oh, my dad, right? And that was just a really, really interesting realization for myself. We had Ministers Continuing Education a few weeks ago before I left for Japan, and one of the things that was we had was Dr. Lilu Chen, who's a teacher now at Institute of Buddhist Studies, and she does some of the chaplaincy classes. And so we asked her to speak to us about chaplaincy, and as ministers, many of us didn't receive like special chaplaincy training, and so she spoke to us about listening. Right? When you're talking to someone who's been through something difficult, it's so important to listen. Listen with your ears to what they're saying, but almost listen with your whole being, right? And try and get an idea of what they're feeling, what they're saying, right? And what they say might actually not be, it seems like something on the surface, but maybe there's something deeper. And so I'll just, it's starting to get loud downstairs, but I'll just share. She read from a book a couple of things, an experience that this professor had talking to his dad, and his dad would say these things, and nothing deep, but I just started crying. Right? And then we were fortunate to be able to talk to each other and kind of go through this exercise, and I realized, wow, my dad's 25th year is coming up. I still hold on to a lot of pain and loss. And it was really difficult to feel those things, and yet it also felt good to feel those things. Right? And I realized, wow, I still have a lot of stuff that I need to process. Right? I'm still going through this. He passed away 24 years ago, and yet still feeling some of this sadness, these feelings of loss. And so I think that it's really, really good to have these kind of memorial services, to be able to gather and be with friends, family, right, Sangha, to be able to think about our loved ones in this context, in the Hondo, in front of Amida Buddha, with Amida Buddha thinking of us. So on this December Shotsuki, if you are here for a loved one's Shotsuki memorial, think about them. Today, maybe on the day, maybe just, sometimes holidays can be really hard. That was hard too, losing my dad in December because Christmas was so important, and Christmas just sucked for a few years after that. And it was really difficult, but I'm glad now I can think about him more fondly and think about him in that context. So I hope for you too, if you've experienced this kind of loss, that you can think about your loved ones, bring them to mind. It may be hard, that's okay too. That's all part of it, right? Part of the everything, maybe, at the end of the Mutt story, right? It's not just happy stuff. It's not just trying to be happy and forget everything else. It's deep joy and gratitude that comes and encompasses everything that we feel. So I'd like to conclude on this occasion of our Shotsuki, December Shotsuki monthly memorial. Let's please put our hands together in Gassho. Let us think about our loved ones on this auspicious occasion of the December Shotsuki Hoyo. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Okay, and then let's sing Gatha Ondokusan II, which is on page 220 in the large purple book. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. Okay, we had announcements at the end of the last service. Most important things are Mochitsuki next week. And so it's on Sunday, huh? And so we'll be, I think we're still accepting orders through tomorrow, maybe? Get your order in quick if you haven't ordered already. And we will have our cleanup on December 21st, and then New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So please look at the Bushin, or maybe they'll be on the screen downstairs. This will conclude our December Shotsuki monthly memorial and adult Dharma service. Thank you for joining us. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Oh, you can come in Oshoko if you haven't had a chance to offer incense already.